Ever since Nick Crowley and Expo have made their videos on their Smartschoolboy9 situation, it has absolutely blown up, causing many people to investigate this, including myself and a team of highly trained open source intelligent investigators from all across the internet. Today I will be showing you all new information about Smartschoolboy9 that has never yet been posted to YouTube, and trust me guys, it gets even more disturbing, so fair warning, click away right now if you're a queasy person. Also, I will not be doing any debriefing on the situation. If you're new to this case, then this video is not for you. If so, please go watch Nick Crowley's video first and then come right back to this. So listen, every single damn YouTuber making videos about this case are literally just reacting to either Nick's, Oompaville's, or Nexpo's video. And either that or they're making a lazy ripoff of one of those videos where they literally use all the same content and they just put their own commentary onto it. This is not what my video is going to be. I'm bringing completely new information about this case to light. I'm connecting the dots, answering the big questions, and doing an in-depth psychological analysis of Smartschoolboy9, none of which has yet been posted to YouTube, so get ready. I will be discussing two main things about Smartschoolboy9. Number one being the reason he is the way he is, discussed by himself from his Stephanie Schooley account, which includes my own analysis of the disturbing but yet fascinating psychology behind SSB9, which concretely explains the reasons that he is the way he is. Number two being substantial information about a specific incident where he was investigated and was brought to court, along with some comments from the victim in the situation. 1979. So one of the things that Smartschoolboy9 has made abundantly clear is that he went to Stockwell Manor School. When looking up this school, this article is found. According to BBC, in 2010, a man named Jeff Morrell was arrested for 12 counts of SA involving pupils aged 14 to 15. It seems that the way that Morrell used to do this was by keeping the boys back for detention and then locking them in his office to SA them. So what does this have to do with Smartschoolboy9? Well, according to this Facebook comment made by Stephanie Schooley, one of Smartschoolboy9's most infamous accounts, Smartschoolboy9 knew of Jeff Morrell. So he'll take the time to read the comment and pause the video if necessary, because I understand it's very tough to decipher his writing, since his writing style is usually just long paragraphs of word vomit. But to summarize it, Smartschoolboy9, aka Stephanie, claims that her quote-unquote brother, aka just, Smartschoolboy9, went to the school during that time, and that Jeff Morrell is a good man, and that he's innocent, and that all he did was play wrestle with the 12-year-olds, and apparently people just took that wrong. Now if we go back to the BBC article, we can see that Morrell was also convicted of a quote-unquote gross indecency with a rent boy. If you guys aren't sure what a rent boy is, it's a young man or boy that does explicit favors for money. See, this connects back to one of the most well-known and verified depictions of SSB9, which is a post from the internet in 1999 that talks about Smartschoolboy9 describing him as a well-known rent boy. Another thing to add is these posts from one of his accounts, Zia Patel. So pause the video and take the time to read these. But essentially he talks about the quote-unquote brother named David, who just is Smartschoolboy9, who attended the school and was punished and humiliated by one of the teachers during the same time period, which is the late 1970s. What makes the name Zia Patel so interesting is that there is a person of that name who actually did go to the school, as showed right here in these class photos. But one thing that's not clear to me is, who is Zia, what is her relevance, why is Smartschoolboy9 pretending to be her, sorry. But yeah, look, if anybody has intel on this, please let me know, because this is part of the case that I'm not too sure about, but it's extremely odd, he's pretending to be this Zia lady, or Zia girl, whatever, who did go to the school. Now possibly, most significant of all, if you look at the songs posted by his lyricist David account, one of them is called 1979. If you listen to the song, all it is him, he's just gleefully repeating the words 1979. So 1979 is the exact area of years where all the above happened, and since we know he's 59, then that means that he was born in 1965 or 1966, which means he would have been 13 during 1979, and which 13 is coincidentally the age of the characters that he makes and the characters that he's always obsessed with. So connecting the dots makes it quite clear that Morel essayed Smartschoolboy9 back in 1979, and that is concretely the incident that made Smartschoolboy9 the way he is today. It seems like Smartschoolboy9 has developed some sort of Stockholm syndrome or trauma bond with Morel, which is when an abused individual has strong feelings of love, attraction, and obsession over their abuser, and in this case it seems like he's never gotten over it. If you look in the definition of Stockholm syndrome, it shows right here that there's also a strong desire to protect the abuser, which is exactly what's going on in the Stephanie Schooley post. And this also makes sense because of the fact that research has shown that there's a strong correlation between those who have been sexually abused as a child to those who end up becoming child predators later on in life once they grow up. Sometimes what ends up happening is that children who have suffered through this abuse have a very distorted view of love and sex, and I think it's been quite clear that Smartschoolboy9's view of love and sex is extremely distorted and disturbing. See, now this is all making sense. What Morel did to Smartschoolboy9 in 1979 when Smartschoolboy9 was a schoolboy and a pupil, it traumatized him and has turned him into what he is now today. It's something that he has never gotten over. Smartschoolboy9's whole identity is based around him wanting to go back and be a schoolboy again and relive this trauma. In his fantasies, he doesn't see himself as the abuser abusing children. No. His fantasy is that he is the child being abused by the adult, which is made very clear through the projection that Crowley has talked about in his videos. He constantly calls other adults creeps when they interact with his posts as a kid, and this is what he gets off to. That's his fantasy. I think that he used the accounts of him as a kid and interacting with other kids not only to prey on kids, but more of a means to get deeper into a sexual roleplay as a kid. This also explains the video of him pleasuring himself in the mirror. He's pleasuring himself to the thought of himself as a schoolboy. That's why he's doing it while looking at himself in the mirror. This also explains him being a rent boy. As mentioned previously, it was said that he'd go by the toilets in his schoolboy outfit and then wait for the customers to come. He was doing these sexual acts to grown men when dressed in his schoolboy outfit, reliving his experience from 1979, reliving himself being the schoolboy, and grown men taking advantage of him. This is seriously some dark, twisted, sick shit, guys, but unfortunately it only gets worse, on to the next part. 2004, Delusions of Grandeur. From now on in the video, I'm going to be referring to Smartschoolboy9 as David Alter because, it's confirmed, it's his real name, everybody knows, and it's just a lot easier to say. So now I'm going to bring your attention to multiple posts made by David from different accounts where they all share one eerie theme: 2004. Specifically, there's always a mention of some sort of girl during 2004, or a mention of some sort of legal case that occurred during 2004. So let's get into the post. The next two posts are essentially drama dumps written in the classic Smartschoolboy9 word vomit fashion, where he's essentially depicting his feud and longtime hatred of his half-sister. Side note, through deciphering through his posts of all his accounts and piecing together his various family life drama dump posts together, we have a very detailed picture of what his family life was like growing up. The thing is though, it's too complicated, slightly irrelevant, messy, and too long to be put in this video, but I could definitely make another detailed video about it in the future. So right back to the post. Essentially, there's two main people mentioned in the post, which is one, the person with delusions of grandeur, that's his half-sister that he's talking about, and then also Darren, who, quote-unquote, not his real name, but just being careful. See, Darren is David. This is one of the things that, Smartschoolboy9 likes to do. He uses, alter egos and aliases and whatnot. So yeah, essentially, Darren is David, and, the post pretty much depicts just a feud between, David and his sister and the general hatred he has towards her. But that's not extremely important. What I'm going to be directing you guys to is the second part of the post. Specifically starting at right there where it reads, "It isn't surprising then that when Darren legally and properly won a matter in 2004 where he was lied about by a girl aged 14 who had wanted to be his girlfriend and was rejected but became bitter." Essentially what David's talking about right here is there was a court case in 2004 where a 14-year-old girl, and keep in mind this is 2004 where David's in his mid to late 30s. So according to him, there was a 14-year-old girl who'd wanted to become David's girlfriend, but David rejected, and the girl became bitter that she got rejected by Smartschoolboy9 and therefore made up a case about him. See, I don't gotta tell y'all how crazy that sounds, but what this is David himself confirming that in 2004 there was a case against him for inappropriate actions with the minor. He is himself confirming that. And then this next post is very similar. It's again him depicting a very similar feud, or maybe even the same feud that he's had with his half sister, and then again mentioning the 2004 court case, where this time he's talking about how his sister would use that 2004 court case to berate him and send him letters and whatnot, berating him and telling him how bad the case is and how terrible he is and stuff like that. And I don't mean to be funny. I don't mean to make light of this case or make a fucking joke or anything, but man, it is really funny what he says right here. He said that his sister had attempted to say that Darren was cross-dressing, something that he wouldn't do and wouldn't even know how to do. Like, as if like somebody just doesn't know how to cross-dress, or as a Smartschoolboy9, like, oh man, he doesn't cross-dress, man, that's something he would never do, or that's something that he doesn't know how to do, man. I don't know, I kind of just find that funny. But again, he is, in a separate post, again mentioning the court case from 2004. So his next post is from his David London account, which is essentially the closest thing that you're gonna get to his actual, to an actual personal account from David. This account's not cosplaying as anything. It's essentially just his personal Facebook account, just with a different name. He posts a lot of just regular, like, sports, politics, whatever comes to this guy's mind, and it's for the most part a pretty regular, Facebook account. Regular aside from this post, of course, where essentially he describes how in 2004 he had some sort of friendship with a 16-year-old girl who was working on a school project, and then how apparently this 16-year-old girl went to David to seek comfort and confide in him the fact that apparently the meter man and her landlord were apparently preying on her and creeping on her and doing things of those nature. Here, I'm going to read a part from the post. "She relayed to me how the man from the meter company tried to look up her school shirt and nearly trod upon her shoes. The highly expensive heeled black patent leather shoes with straps that only a few mortals were ever allowed to handle. I must say she was an expert in making them squeak, but even better in proving that elegance isn't of the past." Man, this is some disturbing stuff, man. This is some disturbing, but essentially, as you could probably assume, I assume David's probably talking about himself in this story. He was probably the man that creeped on her and said those things, and things of that sort. And essentially for the rest of the post, he just talks about how creepy the landlord and the meter man is, and how apparently they're also both scammers as well. And essentially the key thing to take here is he talks about how in 2004 he had some sort of friendship / relationship with this 16-year-old girl. And again, I'll say it again, in 2004 this man was in his mid to late 30s. And these next two posts are also from the David London account, and they essentially just both again depict this 16-year-old girl that he keeps talking about, and also the early 2000s / 2004. And I'm also, keep in mind that the things he talks about in these posts, I'm sure they never actually happened. You know, like helping this 16-year-old girl with a school project or going on trips with her and things of that sort. You know, these are all things that are just in David's heads and just a part of David's fantasies that he's just living out through his imagination and through these posts. So yeah, you know, again, key things, you know, 16-year-old girl, 14-year-old girl, whatever, and the year 2004. So, who is the girl from 2004? Well, she's identified herself over Facebook. And before I go any deeper into this part, I'm gonna say, do not reach out to her about this case. I repeat, do not reach out to her about this. Because of this, I'm gonna blur out her photo and her name, and I'm just gonna refer to her as Jane. Also, technically, there is a theoretical situation where she's lying about this, but I highly, highly doubt that be the case, since it's a real Facebook account that's been around and active for many years. You know, she's a grown adult, she's from Doncaster, and there's other reasons also why we know it's legit, but just in general, I don't think this is something that someone would want to lie about. Also, the posts are public posts. There are screenshots of the post out there publicly on the internet, so you know, theoretically you are able to find it, but I'd say just don't. It's not necessary. And just whatever you do, again, do not reach out to this person. They've made it clear that the only people that they want to talk to is law enforcement, and especially because, you know, this was definitely a very terrible, traumatic experience in their life, so the absolute last thing that they need is a bunch of TikTok or Reddit investigators reaching out to them and bothering her and trying to figure out more about the situation. So again, last I'm gonna say it, do not reach out to her. So yeah, you know, here's essentially here's the post. You know, she doesn't go into too much detail, but you know, she lets everybody know what happened. And then yeah, next here she goes into a bit more detail on this comment, and I want to highlight the reply. You know, it's another lady from the area, I assume, where she asked, "Was it you who he said he was writing a book about and stalked you at school?" To then Jane replied, "Yes, why?" And then she just replied, you know, "I can just remember it being in the Free Press years ago." The Free Press is essentially like, you know, the UK's newspaper and whatnot. And also, you know, take a look about how the person who replied mentioned the fact that David Alter was writing a book. You know, this is something that we're going to talk about a bit later. And then now we can see that somebody actually messaged her and posted it. And, you know, it's nothing too consequential, but essentially, you know, they're just talking about how he's a nunce and he needs to be locked up forever. And, yeah, so essentially what I gather from this is that, you know, he was stalking her, being inappropriate to her. And, essentially because he was trying to write a book, and, you know, it got brought to court and they let him out because of his quote-unquote mental health issues. And you know, I really went soft on the case, and apparently they raided his home and they found pictures of her, like of her face, kind of like cut up and then like put onto, like, you know, magazine models or something along those lines. Man, it's really dark, twisted stuff, man. I can't believe that this is, you know, what I'm even talking about right now, but yeah, man. And then yeah, man, here's a couple more comments and posts and whatnot about from alleged Doncaster locals talking about how they remember him and they remember the whole situation, and you know, essentially he was a creep following around schoolboys and schoolgirls, and he was essentially trying to write a book called, I think it's the Spirituality of Young Girls or something along those lines. And yeah, you know, so everything really does check out, and it's, you know, everything is pretty consistent, and I really do believe that this is the story, you know. And yeah, now for the rest of the video, I'm just going to talk about some other more kind of random assortment of things that I've been found about him. Like, for example, in a now deleted tweet, and since it's now been deleted, I'm not going to be putting it here, but in a now deleted tweet, Nonce Hunters UK have essentially kind of matched David Alter with the description and police sketch of somebody who had a sex attack on a schoolgirl in 2016. And man, I gotta say, like, from the police sketch, like, he really fits the description. Like, it really looks like him. But again, the tweet is now deleted, so I'm not gonna post it, and I'm not sure why they deleted it. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason, so I'm not gonna look too far into that. One of the most disturbing things is that Smartschoolboy9 is still active. Like, this is a Stephanie Schooley account. This was posted 5 days ago. You know, this is posted September 20th. And he's still active, man. He's still posting. And also there's a profile and ad listed on Rent a Room in the UK. And that's alleged to be David, and it seems like him, you know. Again, this one might be a troll. I'm not too sure, but it does sound like David, man. Like, it's hard to imitate the way that he writes, and this does sound like him. Just give this a listen, you know. Gifted lyricist and versatile vocalist, eager to return to London, but lacking transport. I'm not wealthy or famous, but very motivated, honest, and decent. I mean, hey, he is famous now. But young outlook, that's happy to help you with music projects, hoping to compromise on rent may be possible. Must respect my privacy. Yeah, of course they're gonna, you know, of course he wants you to respect his privacy. And again, this is more alleged. This is possibly true, but possibly not. And the last thing I'm gonna bring light to is the fact that his church that he goes to, that he's confirmed in many of his Facebook posts. And by the way, David's religion and his religious posts, that could be a whole nother video in itself, because it's damn interesting. You know, he talks a lot about religion, and he has very strong religious views, which is extremely odd considering the person that he is. And after taking a deep dive into it, there's a lot of stuff there and a lot to unpack. So I could make a future video on that, and as well as I talked about before, making a future video possibly about his family and what he's unveiled in his Facebook posts about his, you know, family life as a kid and growing up, and his relationship with his family now, and just, you know, again, off of everything that he himself has posted, you know. So those are, you know, possible future videos. But again, yeah, the church that he goes to put out a public notice that the police have advised against any requests for money from David Alter, also known as David Stansfield Alter, from Doncaster. And by the way, this is official. Like, I have the link right there. You can literally go to the link, look it up. It's from the United Church of God website itself. So it's real, you know. And but one thing I want to point out, though, is that's really odd, is that he goes by David Stansfield Alter, which, as you know, Stephanie Schooley is the name of, you know, Stephanie Stansfield, or Stephanie Stansfield is the name of Stephanie Schooley, or whatever you want to say, like his alter ego, it's Stansfield. So is David's name actually Stansfield, or is that just one of the aliases that he goes by, and that, you know, he may have told people is his name at church, or that he told people that's his middle name at church? But yeah, maybe someone look into, you know, who knows. But definitely really interesting and almost a bit disturbing that, you know, that is his middle name, and Stephanie Stansfield is, like, you know, the main character that he obviously uses and whatnot. So yeah, guys, I really appreciate you guys watching. You know, I put a lot of hard work into this, man. I want this video to be is kind of like the video for people to get the update on this situation, and for people to be, you know, fully up to date on what's going on, like for this to be the reference point for that. And you know what this video was me searching through, like, the entire internet, just searching absolutely every single thing I can about the situation, and essentially putting it together, connecting the dots, making sense of it, and then putting it into a clean-cut, organized video. And a lot of this stuff came from different Redditors or different people from other websites, and, you know, things of that sort. And throughout the video, I really tried my best to give credit, and I think that's, you know, one thing that's big to me. But if there's anybody who I didn't give credit to or that I missed out on, please let me know. Please send me a personal message. I'll make it right. I'll give you the credit, or I'll feature you in the next video, or just anything, because that means a lot to me, and I'm trying to just be good here. I'm trying to give people credit where credit's due. And also, shout out to all the archivers, bro. Everybody who's archived things from the situation, man. Shout out to you guys. You guys are real MVPs. Majority of the stuff's been deleted, so if it wasn't for you guys, none of this would even be possible. And yeah, if you like this video, if you thought this video was well made, then please do drop a subscribe, because this is my first video and I'm gonna keep going. This is only the beginning. I'm gonna be following up on this case and probably providing new videos about the case, as stuff I was talking about earlier. And yeah, I'm only getting started, so please drop subscribe. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so that's it, everybody. Really appreciate it. That's all I got for now. Like, subscribe. See you guys later.